YouTube, how's it going? The Goat House is back with one of my favorite videos we do every single year, my guys of the 2021 NFL Draft. Each year, I got some big-time draft hits from this series, so can't wait for this 2021 version. Last year, we had some big ones like Chase Claypool, Antonio Gibson, and a lot more, so I'm excited to see which one of these guys hits this year. So my guys slash favorite prospects slash players that I'm way higher on than a lot of other people out there. So yeah, we got my final mock draft still in the works. It's coming. My final predictions. We had a bunch of different NFL draft videos, prospect rankings, big board, top 50, a lot more, tons. So check it out. Subscribe, smash that like button, follow our Twitter. Breaking down each pick, day 2 and 3 on Twitter. Will be live right here for day 1, breaking it all down. So turn notifications on to be very important. Any link that you're looking for, pinned down in the comments. Very important down there to check it out. Here's our Twitter. I got a spreadsheet that I release every year. Only way to get it, go to our Twitter, follow us, click this link. I'll keep retweeting it. Yeah, just an insane amount of players graded, ranked each position by position. So definitely check it out. But my guys for 2021, let's start with the bigger ones, the obvious ones. Javonte Williams, I was all over. This guy is running back 1 from the start. Didn't take long for me to figure that out, for my board at least. Yeah, I got him at running back 1, 20th overall, my big board. And I kind of looked at kind of the big name guys who rank position by position. I kind of grabbed the average between all those. And this one was pretty obvious. Most people have him at running back 3. Recently, we're starting to hear that there are some teams that really like Javonte Williams. So that tends to happen sometimes. Clyde Edwards-Helaire last year with me and then teams. So teams start to see maybe what I see what they see. Same thing there. So just such a tough runner, the balance after contact is ridiculous. I keep saying, I think this is a guy that's going to help open up the passing game. You see with a guy like Derrick Henry, one example, how dominant he is, how boxes get stacked, and then it allows the passing game to become easier for the quarterback. That's the type of guy Javonte Williams is. Getting comparisons to Chubb, Josh Jacobs, a lot of these guys for a reason. So I'm really excited. I think he's an instant impact guy. He's going to be able to handle a load. I think he's going to improve, be better at the NFL level, catch the ball in the backfield. When he did, he was kind of a home run guy. I've actually saw some good routes, good footwork and routes from him. Howell will actually miss him sometimes on those, so that was unfortunate. That kind of goes unnoticed. So huge Javonte Williams guy, pounding the table for this guy, my number 1 running back. Another one, Elijah Moore. Another one from the start. I was my receiver 4 for quite a long time. Some other people starting to get in on that, but yeah, just checks every box besides height maybe, but height doesn't win in today's NFL, especially for slot receivers, but he also could play outside. Remember Justin Jefferson, the worry was not really a similar player, but Justin Jefferson was a slot receiver. Worry was, can he play outside? Ends up playing outside, for the Vikings just as much as he does in the slot. Elijah Moore actually had more snaps, better snaps outside than Justin Jefferson. So I'm confident he can do both, but he's so good with his footwork, so good with his routes, understanding open zones in coverage, home run ability after the catch, sure-handed guy. It's a do-it-all guy. I think there's so many teams that just need a quick separator specifically over the middle of the field. And once he gets his hand on the ball, he's a home run hitter. It could be similar to a former Ole Miss wide receiver, A.J. Brown. A little different builds, of course, but it could be somewhat similar there on how he was just getting such quick separation over the middle, really anywhere, just home run guy after the catch. I think it's that type of impact. I think there's a lot of contender teams or borderline contender teams that get this guy, just one guy, but it's just such a big instant impact that it's a big boost. So 19th overall, my board, receiver 4. I'd say most people have him around receiver 6. Some people starting to move him up. It's kind of weird seeing people move. Usually people don't move big name guys around the week of the draft, but some people starting to do with him. So I found that very interesting. But love me some Elijah Moore. Should go in the middle of the first. Will he? I do think he will. Now, I think NFL teams will see it. Next up, Jalen Phillips. You guys know this. Another guy was tweeting about a long time ago. The second I watched edge rusher tape, this guy just stood out right away. Was number 1 on my board. Checks every single box. Does have a little bit of medical concerns. I'm not really too worried about it. It's not like a long-term injury type deal. I've went into it a million times. I don't need to go into it again. But I see other people, later in the process see that, yeah, he's the best edge rusher right now. But they're just hesitant to put him at 1, mixture between the injury and they view other guys at upside. But Jalen Phillips is ridiculous upside. Was a top recruit, a 5-star recruit. Barely has any reps for being a natural at the position, but Edge rusher is such an important position. The NFL can take over a game, and we got a great one here. You know, if he didn't have, again, I'm not super worried about the injury concern, not as much as everyone else, but if he didn't have that, you know, that would be no concerns, and then he'd probably be an elite prospect as well. But he's kind of borderline there for me, 10th on my board. I think someone's going to get a hell of a pass rusher. That's a game changer. That's a team changer right there. So, huge Jalen Phillips guy as well. How about Kellen Mond? I had to put Kellen Mond up here. I don't think too many people are going to talk about Kellen Mond, their guy. Every year, I know a lot of you guys, you know, huge fans out there of the NFL draft. If you out there make your rankings or think in your head you have your rankings, you guys probably do the same thing where you just got a feeling about it, guys. Sometimes you can't fully explain it. I mean, I can explain some things here, but you just can't fully explain it. You kind of got that gut feeling. You got a feeling about that guy, and it usually works out for you. That would be Kellen Mond. I just got a feeling about this guy. I did a few years ago, the first year he started for Texas A&M. I'm like, okay, this is a future first-round quarterback. This is a future first-round pick right here. And then it went downhill a little bit. I don't know what happened. A little bit of an adjustment in Jimbo Fisher's system there. They're adjusting some things. And then this year, he turned it back up again. More familiar with the pro-style offense as well. A little bit of multiple, you know, play styles as well, which the NFL is kind of incorporating as well. So that's fantastic. But he has the traits. He has the arm strength. He has the athleticism that fits today's NFL. He wants to pass first, but he can run, and he can run. He can take off. He can throw on the run. Extremely good. He has that wow potential. He has that wow potential. Just putting it all together. It's putting it all together. Sometimes they would simplify things a little too much, in my opinion. And a recent guy, Justin Herbert, when he was a freshman, I was saying, watching him like, this is the next. I was actually saying this is the next elite NFL quarterback, and then it completely went downhill. I blame Oregon for that. And it's somewhat of a similar situation here. Not on Justin Herbert's level, of course, but I think going back, I really, really liked him. It faded away a little bit. I'm starting to get back on it again. He needs to land with the right team. I knew I was going to be higher on him than most, but I was actually I haven't really been looking at other people's rankings until I did this video. And because I went through like kind of the big guys, Zerline, PFF, you know, a number of those. And I was surprised that a lot of them have him at QB8. I think PFF actually had QB9, if I'm not mistaken. I was surprised by that. You know, he has the traits. He needs the right team. But I wouldn't be against taking this guy at the end of the first. You know, if Jordan Love can go, and I wasn't anti-Jordan Love, keep in mind. If Jordan Love can go at the end of the first, Kellen Mond can go at the end of the first. I wouldn't be against it there. I think it, you know, could end up being a great pick early second. And again, I really hope he goes to the right coaching staff / team because I think he's got a bright future if that's the case. We could be coming back saying, wow, this was actually one of the top 5 guys. And there's top 5 guys that are probably going to go in the top 10. Moving on, RHAMONDRE Stevenson. If you watch running back rankings, you guys know I got him at running back 5. It's pretty close to 4 to him. Michael Carter, way different style backs, but pretty close. I like his game a lot. The more and more I watch him, you know, I think he's a safe pick there. He's a little heavier than you want him to be, but he doesn't really run like it. He doesn't really act like it. You know, he's almost, you know, runs like kind of a quick, smaller back, but then, you know, the strength, the power, breaking tackles comes kind of natural because he has that strength. So I actually love that about him. He explodes through the hole. He sees the hole. He explodes through it. And there's times where he's pretty damn patient, and I'm not a big patience guy, but he picks the right times to be patient. It's not even close all the time. It's very sneaky catching the ball out of the backfield. It was very good on slip screens, getting, you know, 2 yards and then out. You know, there's a reason Oklahoma wanted to keep him around as kind of the feature back over a guy like Trey Sermon, for an example, because of his pass catching ability. So that kind of fits today's NFL. I like him a lot. You know, I think he probably should go in the 3rd round. And yeah, I was surprised to see nobody really moved him up. You know, I figure, you know, before the offseason started, I probably wouldn't have had him anywhere near 5, you know. So I was surprised to not see anyone else kind of move him. 9, maybe a little bit. People are moving him up, but surprised no one's moving him up to around that 5 range, to be honest. But I think somebody's going to get a good back there. He really could start. And he's a guy that can handle the load. You know, will he right away? We'll see. It depends on the team, of course. You know, I'm always hitting on these running backs, so I got to keep the trend going. I like Colin Hill. This is a crazy one in terms of the range, my rank versus the average rank. I was shocked to see when I took all those big name guys and their position rankings to see they are very, very low on this guy, around running back 17 for most of these people. So that's crazy to me. I got him at 6, right around that range. I think kind of quitting on his team probably affected. A couple guys did that this year. probably affected a little bit. But last year, I thought, 2019 season, I thought he looked like a second or third round pick there. Very good runner. Then early this year, very early, totally different system. You kind of wonder, did Hill just get screwed with Mike Leach coming in? Is they're going to pass some more? But they were kind of getting him involved, catching the ball to the backfield, the LSU game specifically. And I was impressed. I was impressed by that. So some upside there, strong runner. Vision gets a little inconsistent. Sometimes he'd rather just try to run somebody over and take in the open lane. So that's the problem. It's probably the problem some other people are seeing. But I think you kind of can fix that because you have the moments where he just sees the hole and just goes, Crazy athletic ability as well. Probably one of the most underrated guys in this class, I guess, based on all that. So I think he can be a starting back in the NFL one day. So we will see. James Hudson, tackle from Cincinnati. I was shocked to see where another guy. I knew I was probably a little higher than most people, but kind of getting those average ranks from a lot of those people that rank prospects by position. These kind of fell way down the boards, and there are things to love about his tape, and there are things that I probably see that why people are a little lower on him. He kind of could get beat on the inside a lot. On pass protection, he just instantly goes out, and I noticed that a lot, and then people just torch him on the inside. I think that's just fixable, very fixable. He didn't really, even in those reps, that he got beat, he kind of recovered pretty well. I think for his strength, his athleticism, footwork, kind of has that bully to him. Good in run with his run blocking. I see an insane amount of upside. Just fix some little thing here. I think he'd be a starting tackle. Don't be surprised if he's not starting right away because he's got to fix that a little bit. So if a team drafts him and in the second round, maybe they take him in the second round. They see what I see here. And you're a little disappointed they didn't start right away. There's a reason for that, and I'm not. It's one of those guys. Sometimes I worry a little bit, but it's one of those guys where I am not worried at all. I think he's going to be a stud. So I actually got him at tackle 6. I think he's one of the better second-round guys for me. There's guys getting talked about late first, mainly early second, and I just think I would much rather have James Hudson here from Cincinnati. So, and another thing to keep in mind, when he went against Azeez Ojulari from Georgia in that bowl game, I mean, that's one of the better pass rushers in the class, first off. But Azeez Ojulari's game is his outside, his outside bend, speed rush. Hudson was locking that down. He was locking that down. Azeez Ojulari was figuring him out that he can beat him on the inside. We're going to work with that with Hudson, right? When Ojulari went on the outside, Hudson actually was out of the game, wasn't on him, okay? So I think people kind of blow that up for no reason. Aleem McNeil, I've been talking about him for a while. Another one of those guys I kind of got that feeling about. Not too much of a difference between my rank and the average rank. We're all about in the same ballpark. I think most people have him around round 3. Some people around 4. I like him around 2. I got that feeling about him. I think he is today's NFL's nose tackle. It used to be just get that huge guy that's going to stop the run. Forget everything else. I think he has a pass rush part to his game. We didn't see much of it this year. Year before we saw it. We know he has it in him. He played running back and linebacker in high school. Running back and linebacker. Now he's playing nose tackle. A natural at the position. Also, NC State ran a lot of 3-3, 3-3-5, and only rushing 3, I should say. And that, I don't like that. And it resulted in him being doubled a ton. I've seen reps where he was tripled. His job's going to be easier in the NFL. So for those reasons, a lot of upside when he's already, usually the upside guys aren't good enough right away. He's already good enough. I think he's going to be a very good nose tackle. Very, very good nose tackle. So just really like this guy, liked his tape, liked his upside. Marvin Wilson's one. Yeah, Marvin Wilson's one on here just because the big difference between my rank and the average rank. It is a tough one because this past year he really wasn't that good. He put on some weight, some bad weight. Not horrendous, but wasn't ideal. Didn't play that great. Florida State is kind of a mess, and they're swapping coaches like crazy, so that could have affected some things as well, perhaps. But in 2019, he played like a first-round pick. And I just watched that, and it's just wow moments, and I it's there. It's in there, right? And I think you can move him around a bit, different spots. I think an NFL team, hopefully the right team, can get that back out of him. He reminds me of Shelby Harris a lot, who I really like his game on the Denver Broncos. So I got him at defensive tackle 5, and most people got him around 11. I think too many people are basing things off this past year. Again, messy situation at Florida State. So I think we're going to see more like that 2019 Marvin Wilson one day soon. So we will see. Next, Derrick Barnes. If you guys watch linebacker video, if you follow us on Twitter, you guys know I was all over Derrick Barnes. Another guy that I knew I was going to be a lot higher on than people, but by a lot, by a real lot here. 14, linebacker 14 when I average it out for most people. I got him at 5. I would take him in the second round. He was a defensive end for Purdue. He looked pretty damn good there. Last couple years, there was one year where they were kind of moving back and forth. This last year, they put him at the linebacker position. He was moving inside and out. Looked like a natural inside. I'm good with them outside as well. But yeah, again, natural at the position, kind of just learning it, but super instinctive and exploding the ball downhill, exploding through gaps on the run, and pretty impressive pass coverage as well. When he had to cover guys, sometimes people go in motion. He's got to follow him. Senior Bowl looked pretty good in coverage. A lot of upside. I think it'd be, a lot of guys with the upside that I think are good day one at the same time. Could work on kind of shedding blocks a little better, perhaps, but going from DN, dealing with tackles, it's a little different, so that makes sense to me. But I like me some Derrick Barnes. I got him ahead of some guys, some linebackers that some people say are first-round picks, so that's how high I am on Derrick Barnes. Ambry Thomas, really no one talking about Ambry Thomas at all. I got him in the top 10 of a loaded cornerback class. I love this corner. Day 2 of this cornerback class, absolutely loaded. And most people got him around 16 range. There is a little bit of a concern because he kind of got sick in the offseason. Then we had the chance to opt out. He did because he lost a ton of weight when he got sick. That really isn't an injury at all, an injury concern NFL-wise, on the field-wise. He gained the weight back that he lost. Looking at 2019 tape, another one of those guys that switched positions. Michigan even used him on kind of gadget plays because he's just the best athlete on the field, one of the best at least. So they switched his position, kind of a receiver to a cornerback. He looked very good. They even used him in press. Usually those guys can't play press. He's very good in press, very good man coverage, very athletic, extremely athletic, very good at jumping routes, jumping on the ball, being a playmaker. I think he's a hell of a corner. I think he could be a starting corner here. I think people worry about his frame. He's a little on the thinner side, and again, he lost weight, but I think he put it back on. It looked all right at the pro day. Didn't play this year, but a lot of guys didn't play this year, so I'm not really sure what the big problem is. Some people are talking about putting him in nickel just because he's thin, but he played very well on the outside. Very good in press. I just don't see it. I think he's an outside guy. So I like Ambry Thomas. I think he should go in round 2. He's probably not from what I've been hearing, but maybe the NFL sees me in the NFL teams. Maybe we're seeing the same thing here. So I like Thomas a lot from Michigan. Andre CISCO from Syracuse, the free safety. I've been kind of up and down to him because there are some negatives on his tape where he takes really bad angles in coverage and tackling. But then usually if you pair that, mainly the tackling part stood out. That was very bad angles on the tackles. When you pair that with struggle to actually make a tackle, then you got a problem. But he can tackle. Syracuse would sometimes put him up in the box and make a big play there as well. So he could tackle, but I do like him at free safety. He's a freak athlete, got freak range, and just phenomenal ball skills. Some of the plays he makes, ridiculous. It's a tough one, though, because those negatives do stand out, but he only played 2 games this year. That's why it's tough. He tore his ACL, so that could be another reason why the rank is down a little bit. But yeah, he played 2 games this year, and he really looked better. It's hard to tell in those 2 games, but he really looked, and I already liked him based on the previous year, but he did look a lot more polished, look a lot better. So it's a shame that he got hurt, but this could be a starting free safety. If he fixes those negatives, it's going to be one of the best playmakers in football, maybe on the defensive side of the ball. So CISCO kind of sticking in my mind here, that playmaking ability. Ronnie Perkins, another one that it's not huge difference between. I know there's some guys out there that are around my rank as well. There's really not that much of a difference, but there's some people that are very low on him. It's kind of split. But it's one of those guys where I watch the tape and I'm kind of out of my seat watching this guy. I'm just really enjoy watching this tape. High motor guy, extremely high motor, extremely powerful. One of those guys where you watch the tape and you think he's more productive than he actually is in the stat sheet, and that's a good thing. It's a good thing. He's more productive on the field, on tape, and that means I think he's going to be more productive at the NFL level. It reminds me of some people are throwing D Ford out there. I see a little more Frank Clark, but he's a lot lighter than Frank Clark. Maybe we can mix those guys together. That'd make a lot of sense to me. Just to play style mainly for Clark, a high motor defensive end, similar moves to him. So I see some good things there. I wouldn't be it's one of those guys where I grade second round, but I wouldn't be against taking him in late first. I don't think it happens, but I would not be against it. I'm just a fan of his game, So I do like Ronnie Perkins there. We'll see I'm curious to see which team takes him, because which scheme he's going to be playing in. Very curious. I don't really mind either way. It's something I'm very curious on. Another pass rusher, Jordan Smith, kind of a sleeper guy, from UAB, and I like his length, and he's kind of got the traits there. He's got great athleticism, and usually those guys just don't really. There's a lot of those guys in the class, and they didn't really put it all together. There's probably guys that go in the first round that have those traits, but didn't put it together. They didn't get the production. I thought Jordan Smith had the production. He had some good play, especially against when he played the bigger schools. Tennessee had a big game a couple years ago. I like what I see there. He does need to put on some more strength, because there's some times where it kind of shows a little bit, but so explosive, so lengthy, such a good athlete that I think you can figure it out. I wouldn't mind, people talking about him in around round 5. I wouldn't mind him in the back end of round 3. Developmental guy that could figure it out early on. So I do really like Jordan Smith. Talking about some other guys here. These guys are kind of more my guys, kind of honorable mentions. Micah Parsons, I didn't really want to put in with the big boys here, because even though he is a big guy in terms of my grading system, because everyone's high on Micah Parsons. Everybody, there's not anybody that's low on, I don't think, that's low on Micah Parsons. I got a league grade on him, though. And, we're not handing those out left and right. There's not a lot of people that are giving they're giving him a top 10 grade. I got a league grade on him. It's one of those guys that I'm jumping up and down when I'm watching him play. So I like Micah Parsons a lot. Love his versatility. I think he would be a first-round pick as an edge rusher. I think he'd be a first-round pick what he is, a 4-3 out weak side. And I think he'd be a first-round pick what he could be in an inside linebacker position as well. Caleb Farley, I'm on record saying he's cornerback 1 if he's healthy. Just kind of a big if there, but I just wanted to, just say that. I want that to be here, where I think he's that talented with that much upside. I talk about it all the time. Where he stands out is something that is insanely rare, is that he recognizes routes and he will run the route for and better than the receiver and make a play on the ball. You don't see that. You just don't see it. De'Ami Brown, because I have a round 1 grade on him. Not too many people at all. I know Chris Sims is higher on him than I am, but not too many people other than that are talking about him in round 1. I think it's because of his route concept. He's not going to fit everyone. Just not a whole bunch of routes there, but I just see that he's twitchy enough. He's athletic enough to figure that out. Milton Williams, people kind of caught on. I talked about him a long time ago, just a freak athlete. I think he'll have a much better pro career, and that's at playing multiple different positions as well. D-line number 3 for me. Robert Hainsey, growing on me more and more, because I start, later on in this process, I started to watch more and more the later round edge rushers, and watching like the Duke edge rushers, for one example, against Notre Dame. Some guys against Notre Dame, I've noticed that when those edge rushers go against Liam Eichenberg and Robert Hainsey actually look better on him, and that's as a tackle. So I think he's a damn good tackle. But I talked about I'm moving him to guard. There's a lot of talk at the Senior Bowl. The teams want to move him to guard because they think he'd be a dominant guard. Some of the best guards in football were once tackles too. So I would take him in day 2 as either position, and it could be that sneaky guy that is, maybe he's better than Eichenberg, Eichenberg's getting more love out there, but who knows? Another bully of a blocker there. Notre Dame's got a lot of those guys that had success in the NFL. Janarius Robinson, nasty pass rusher, bully of a guy out there, and very good stopping to run. I think he's only going to get better too. Florida State, a little bit of a messy situation, swapping coaches. I like him as just a pure 4-3 defensive end. Got him in round 4. A lot of people around round 5, 6. I think he'll be a better pro there. And Robert Rochelle I just put on here because I just think he's the freakiest thing in the draft. It's pretty tough, though, because, talking about Micah Parsons, there's a lot of other guys, but this guy can run, this guy can jump, he's got the length, all those traits combined. Not too many people know about him because he's from Central Arkansas, but I wouldn't be surprised if he went round 2. Early round 3 makes a lot of sense, though. And we'll see if he can reach that upside with that freakish ability, because he does have good tape as well. And some sleeper guys, Chris Evans from Michigan, another Michigan guy made the list here. I like his running style, and he's very, very sneaky catching the ball out of the backfield and downfield. He's a little older, so maybe that's why he drops a little bit. I think he's going to be 24, but I love the way he runs the ball. Good mixture of power, quickness, hits the hole, can catch the ball. Jamar Jefferson, I think, fits a lot of the running styles today in the NFL, running schemes, I should say. Kind of a breakout year for Oregon State. There's some teams that kind of got Jamar Jefferson written all over him. Teams like the Niners, the Jets, teams like that I think he actually could be a breakout guy early on in his career. with those, and there's more teams, but those schemes. Austin Watkins Jr. from UAB, I like his game. Sure-handed guy, just gets open and pretty solid after the catch there. But yeah, gets open intermediate routes, downfield, just all over the field. So that's definitely a sneaky guy that I like. I was on him a while ago. Brennan James had a really good tape. I liked his tape a lot at Nebraska. Their left tackle, but just no one talking about him. Kyrus Tonga, liked his tape too. He's kind of a guy that stuck with me. I remember watching him during live games this year, trying to watch Zach Wilson. Tonga standing out to me. Ernest Jones, linebacker of South Carolina, was key for South Carolina. They only ran with like 2 linebackers for the most part. I think his job could be easier in the NFL. I could see him playing 4-3 outside as well and having a better career there. I think a pretty good athlete. Not really fast, but everything else. Explosive, quick, can move, change direction, all that. Rodarius Williams, who's Greedy Williams' brother, cornerback from Oklahoma State. I liked his tape. I thought he's pretty sticky in coverage, good getting his head around, making play in a ball, not being talked about enough. I think I talked about this with the safeties. DeMar Hamlin, I was talking about, he's really growing on me. I was saying that, and he's still growing on me watching his tape. People view him more as a free safety. I don't see that. I like him at strong. I like him when he's in the box. He attacks the ball very well, a very good tackler. He's a guy that's growing on me every time I watch him there. And James Wiggins, I talked about this with the safety group, which nobody else is talking about, that I think if he didn't have injury concern, because he did have multiple injuries throughout his career, I think we'd be talking about him with the big boys. Maybe not 1 or 2 safety, but up there, maybe 3 if he didn't have an injury concern. Built like a strong or a box guy, and he can play that, but I like his ball skills at free safety. Cincinnati ran a lot of split out there where they had to cover the boundary, so kind of a tough task too. I think fits NFL concepts back there. So if he stays healthy, that's definitely a guy to watch out for. So we had a lot of guys up here this year. The guys with their own graphics were kind of really the big guys for this video here. So let me know your thoughts. Everyone's got different guys of their own, and you can comment with those down in the comment section, of course. Few more videos on the way. We'll be live during day 1 of the NFL draft, reacting to it as well, covering every single pick on Twitter, day 2, day 3, winners, losers, grades throughout the draft, the day 2 mock throughout the draft here on the channel. So subscribe. You make sure you turn notifications on so you don't miss any of it. Updates on our Twitter, position rankings on our Twitter, everything. Link pinned in the comments for anything you need. That is going to do it for this one. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.